Avison's restored top 4 competitor, playing Junk Aristocrats, playing what looks like Jerry Thompson's list. He's playing against Robert Lopuski, playing Green Black Rock. This is a much more traditional Green Black Rock deck, unlike the one that we saw earlier with the Demonic Taskmasters and Helicidal Seclusions. This is more like the Jeff Hoogland school of thought. You've got Threat, Tusk, Desecration Demon, Scavenging Ooze, Disciple Boss, Vampire, Nighthawk, some removal, a couple Planeswalkers, Liliana Veil, and Vraska the Unseen. So yeah, we're a little bit more, this is much more traditional, a little more used to this one.
Interesting card I see in Robert's deck, Demonic Rising. Haven't seen that one in a list that I can remember.
There's been some talk about it,
Okay.
just because how it works with Mutavault and some of the other things. Now this deck oftentimes is just going to have one creature. It's not anything that I feel has really stuck or turned the format on its head.
Right.
There's been more talk and hype about it more than anything, I think. But there is one main deck here in Lupiski's deck, and then you've got Cho playing just a very, I don't want to call it standard Animator deck, but it's just basically what we saw last round. Thompson's version of the deck.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, we've got Thompson's list right here in front of us. It looks identical down to exactly where they wrote the deck. wrote out the
same order.
The same order and everything. So 4-2-3-3. Yeah, it was that's they're not looking at lands.
They actually almost wrote their lands the same. That's
Yeah.
because he has 3. You see where he has 3 forests scratched out?
Yeah.
He has 3 forests there.
We better not. I better change it. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Because he had already written it over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's looks to be an identical list. Main deck. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. So it's slightly different sideboard.
Yeah,
no.
a touch different.
Oh no, maybe they just wrote them in different.
How dare they?
That's
do
all right.
that?
Anyway, so we're underway.
Huh!
Robert with a swamp.
No, he didn't just play a swamp, dude. He didn't
true.
just play a swamp.
He also played an Ultra Pro sleeve.
That's a white. Oh God. White board.
It looks like a 4th edition actually. Swamp, revised or 4th edition. Actually, could be unlimited now that I'm seeing it. Looks a little dark, so it might be unlimited or 4th edition. So anyway, Josh Cho with a double Angel of Serenities in the yard already. And a second swamp for Robert.
He has 2 of them?
I'm pretty sure they're all going to look like that, Cedric. I'm sorry.
All right, I'll be okay.
It'll be all right. It'll be okay. I think you can handle it. Just pretend you're 15 again, or however old you were when that was the legal. When maybe you were younger than that. I think you're a little younger than me, so you were maybe 12.
Tweet us if
10.
you're pro whiteboarded swamps. Doomblade. Get that
Doomblade
Avison out of here.
for Josh's freshly cast Avison's Pilgrim.
But not a 3rd land for Lopuski. So that's not good.
It's good for you. You didn't want to see another white bordered land. But yeah, for Robert, not so good.
Let's see if Cho needed that mana or not. I mean, he did mulch.
It doesn't
He's
look
got
like
an
it.
Arbor
No,
Elf.
he's got another Arbor Elf. He's got a Sun Petal Grove. He's got a Godless Shrine.
Yeah.
He's got plenty of lands. So Arbor Elf, the play from Josh, and Sign in Blood, the play from Robert. Going to see if he can find some lands here, and I think he did.
Yep, I saw the white
saw
border.
the white border.
I saw the white border.
He's playing other white
actually, it
border
makes my
cards.
job really easy.
Yeah, there you go.
I can always tell when there's a land there, so that's good. Or for the most part. Apparently, we are being informed by P. Sams on Twitter that those lands are revised and beautiful. # white border best border.
There you go. I can respect white border that are revised or unlimited. I don't like 4th edition and beyond.
Is there a way to ban people from Twitter? Is that a thing that can happen? Or I'm not sure. I'm not really that great at Twitter. MTG Ian saying that trolling with white border cards is fun, and that apparently these are exclusively. Some people play exclusively 7th edition basics, Joe.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the 7th edition white border. So anyway, Sign in Blood does find Robert a swamp, but no green source, so he has to discard an Abrupt Decay there at the end of turn. Josh now with a Grizzly Salvage.
Rather weak one, actually.
And yeah, an Arbor Elf. What did he grab there? Vault of the Archangel and a bunch of other...
Just a couple of lands, 2 Overgrown Tombs and a forest. So yeah, actually nothing... That's a very unimpressive... Grizzly Salvage. I feel like that Grizzly Salvage one was the one that was looking for action, because I think that show is action light, and he's just passing the turn back. Maybe representing a Restoration Angel here, what have you, but
the good
really
news,
nothing great.
Good news for both players is neither player is presenting much of a threat.
Yeah. If anything, things are favoring Show right now just because he has lands that could actually do more right now. Lopuski actually needs to draw lands because he already has all the spells, and our spells going to be high impact enough.
So Robert, again, failing to find a land drop here, and you can see there's a Liliana, Vampire Nighthawk, is that what that is? Yep. And passes the turn, so choosing there between Liliana and Nighthawk, goes with the Nighthawk play. I like it.
Liliana not the best in this matchup, of course.
Yeah.
When you're playing a Chunk Reanimator, I think it would come in and maybe try to sacrifice to try to kill that, or go down to take care of that Mana Accelerant. But as we predicted, there's a Restoration Angel here, so.
Mana Accelerant, not even that big of a deal at this point for Josh. He's got plenty of lands. So, very little action. Just the Restoration Angel so far from Josh as far as actual threatening cards. So Josh's turn, 5 lands, Arbor Elf, Restoration Angel, versus Robert's mono black deck so far. 3 Swamps and a Vampire Nighthawk.
Cho going to arrange his mana here. I think Cho has an Angel of Serenity in his hand. I'm not positive. But here's a Disciple of Bolas. He's going to sacrifice Restoration Angel and get a little deeper into his deck. Okay.
Finds a little bit more, a way to find a little more action anyway. Disciple of Bolas, a card that sees occasional play, picking up a bit lately, I guess, with the popularity of black.
Yeah, a lot of talk about this card recently. A lot of talk about this card and just how good is it right now. And it's like kind of picking up steam a little bit because it works so well with Rat-Tusk and Desecration Demon. This was a card that when it was first kind of spoiled, I think a lot of people thought it would have a larger impact across the format. Kind of worked out well would work well with Dross Messenger and stuff, but hasn't really found much of a home yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, there you see it. 2-1 for 4, draws a bunch of cards, gains a bunch of life. Sounds a lot like a Sphinx's Revelation, but sometimes can even be better.
Yeah.
Nighthawk gets in here for Robert. Both players at a very healthy life total, not presenting too much, but unfortunately for Robert, he can't seem to find a green source at all. And the Liliana is even less appealing here. He's going to go ahead and actually discard it.
Wow.
So unappealing, he doesn't even want to pay mana for it.
I mean, representing that he has a removal spell in his hand.
Yeah,
if he's going to discard it, probably like a Doomblade in his hand or a Tragic Slip. But yeah, if he's absolutely not thrilled at casting it, as Cho's going to play his Vault of the Archangel as his land for the turn and come across here for 3. Got Restoration in his hand. I think he might have it. Okay. So here's some actual action.
Oh, right. So locks it on Smiter 4 turns late to the party.
Yeah.
But still does damage.
This take on Junk Reanimator is a lot more like a rock deck to me. Like a rock deck with a little bit of reanimation.
Right. It's kind of like a splash of white, but yeah, it's very, very rockish.
You know, it's nowhere near what we saw, you know, at the beginning of the year. Crazy to think that it's August already, but at the beginning of the year, you know, we were seeing things like Angel of Glory's Rise, and you know that kind of take on Reanimator. It was a lot more combo centric, and then as Junk Reanimator kind of developed over its stranglehold of Standard, it developed from this really combo centric 4 Imperial Rights, 4 Angel of Serenity deck into maybe cut back a little bit here, be able to interact more, be able to play a more mid-rangey type game, and now you see it taken almost exclusively in that direction now.
So Robert's going to go ahead and play Liliana here. He must have had multiple copies. I believe he also had a Doomblade in hand. I'm surprised not to have seen it take out that Smiter.
Yeah, as am I.
Unless he just top decked it. But as you mentioned, and I agreed, I thought maybe he was holding removal at the end of turn there, but he didn't do anything with it. Yep. So Putrefy from Josh takes out the Vampire Nighthawk. So Josh Cho now facing down a lone Liliana who removed an Arbor Elf. Josh is fine with that. Smiter alongside Disciple of the Vault swing in. I believe Smiter probably hit Josh there. Hit Robert there, and Disciple took care of Liliana.
Yep. That's exactly what did happen. Looks
like Robert's going to follow up with yet another Liliana. So 3 Lilianas from Robert this game. 1 discarded and 2 actually cast. Robert still unable to find a green source, it seems. Activates Liliana to force Josh to sacrifice one of his guys, and Josh is going to actually blink the Disciple of the Vault, sacrificing the Smiter to draw a bunch of cards, and likely sacrifice the Disciple to Liliana's trigger.
It's a fun little interaction there.
Yeah, it certainly is, and there's that sacrifice trigger, or sacrifice effect. Josh with just a full grip. And he finds a Grizzly salvage here.
I think he's going to salvage. Maybe if he finds a Mana Accelerant, he'll just take that and put it into play. 4 and 5.
Does see
this is on the end step. I apologize. Yeah, this is on Lopuski's end step. So Cho actually just gets to do that and then untap all of his lands and then do whatever he wants on his turn.
Draw for the turn. He's got another Restoration Angel in hand. There's a Sun Petal Grove. Plays that.
So 9 mana at his disposal for this turn. He's going to start by attacking Lopuski, ignoring the Liliana, saying, yeah, that can tick up if it wants to. I have plenty of things to discard now.
Locks it on Smiter, joins the force, alongside an Avacyn's Pilgrim.
I wonder if you can cast the Smiter there, because you know that Lopuski's going to up it.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, it feels like you get a free Smiter and not have to discard something.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, oftentimes that line of text doesn't end up mattering at all.
Right, so you just forget about it.
Yeah.
It's very possible he wasn't thinking about it. I honestly didn't think about it until he had already played it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't think I saw the Smiter anyway, but it's kind of interesting little interaction. Or maybe he just, well, so that doesn't make any sense either. I was like, maybe he just doesn't want Robert to plus the Liliana, maybe being afraid of another Smiter?
Sure.
Maybe if he plays Smiter, reminds him these exist in my deck. So you might not want to tick up that Liliana. I mean, he can take out Liliana too at will at this point, so I doubt that that's the issue.
So Woodland Cemetery comes in for Lopuski. He moves the Desecration Demon to the front.
Yeah, green source, and Desecration Demon is the play from Robert.
And this is one of those times where Desecration Demon is not so good. Because Cho is going to play, a Restoration Angel on the end step. Do a little blink action. He's got a creature to sacrifice there in the Mana Accelerant and can attack for 10. So Cho wins game 1.
Yeah, very easily. Unfortunately for Robert, just unable to mount really much of an offense or defense that game. He had a couple removal spells, but really not finding your 4th land and your 2nd color until your final turn of the game. Not so. Not exactly how he drew it up.
Yeah. That's not how he wants to get it, especially even with the Sign in Blood. He wasn't able to find lands off of that either. So, not the most ideal game for Mr. Lopuski, a player from New Jersey who has, some moderate success, top 24 at a couple of Star City Games Legacy Opens, has won a grinder at a GP as well. Doesn't have the same resume that Josh Cho does of being a Pro Tour top 4 competitor.
He also didn't indicate his sweet hair as Josh Cho did.
See, that's fair. Modest man. Where there's the Cho Hawk. This is other fun info.
That's right.
Take a look at Lopuski's sideboard first.
Yes.
We'll begin there since he will be on the play. You see him scrolling through things, figuring out what he wants to do here for game 2 and game 3 against Chunk Reanimator. 2 Tree of Redemption, 2 Ratchet Bomb, 3 Lifebane Zombie to go along with the 4th Mutilate in the sideboard. 3 Duress, and then a couple singletons in Golgari Charm, Pithing Needle, Underworld Connections, and Demonic Rising. Again, this is for the most part a mid-range mirror, so as a result, I love Lifebane Zombie in this matchup, of course. Plenty of things to take with that, so I think that's an immediate inclusion.
There you see the Demonic Rising that we mentioned earlier on. He has
I like this one, too.
1 main, 1 board. So wanted to bring that up. A 5 mana, basically just makes demons.
Yeah, and I like bringing this card in, too, because it is a card that can just kind of take over the game on its own if the situation presents itself, excuse me. Underworld Connections, because the game is going to go a little bit long. And then, I think that Mutilate is fine, because again, this isn't like your traditional Junk Reanimator deck. I think it's more of a mid-range deck, and I think Mutilate can actually be pretty good here. So I could see boarding into the 4th one and just trying to be the pure control deck in the matchup.
Yeah, there you see that Tree of Redemption again. I just like to see that. I like that card's seeing play.
The old 13.
Yeah.
Hey, it's definitely a concession to Kibler's deck.
Right.
You want more hate against that style strategy, and of course, if you do get paired against a mono red deck or just a linear or aggressive deck, you're certainly happy to have it in your board. But I think that's a very loud declaration that, okay, Kibler, your deck is good and it's real, and we will adjust accordingly and play a card to try to beat you.
Josh's sideboard, identical to Jerry's, as we mentioned earlier on. 3 copies of Unflinching Courage, 2 copies of Tree of Redemption himself, 1 Cavern of Souls, 1 Pithing Needle, 2 Obsidat, 1 Slayer of the Wicked, 3 Liliana, and 2 Abrupt Decay. So, quite a few options here for him as well. You see the Obsidat, I would think, be something. If he thinks the game is going to be grindy, the Obsidat's a reasonable option. But we saw didn't really do much for Jerry, but sit around in his hand.
Yeah.
in a similar matchup, not identical, because Robert's not playing Junk Reanimator, but
Yeah, I think opposite end is like a lot to come in. Breath Decay, not so much here. Liliana, I don't think that's the approach that Josh wants to take. I think he's more than happy with Robert actually playing and using his. Unflinching Courage could be okay, but then that opens yourself to getting 2 for 1, which you prefer, and then Slayer the Wicked I like a lot. So
right, gotta love the Necrotals.
yeah. So we will see how both players do off the sideboard here. It looks like they're taking a look at their opening 7, seeing if they're going to keep or mulligan.
And we've got to keep. So Robert Lopuski leads with a Swamp for the second game in a row. White-bordered basics there. Josh has a Temple Garden.
I'm being informed that those look to be alt-revised Summer Magic lands.
Oh, they could be Summer Magic, yeah.
They're extremely rare and about $100 each.
Yikes.
That's
impressive.
It's the ugliest $100 piece of cardboard I've ever seen.
So Robert's second turn finds a green source and a Sign in Blood. And Josh's second turn finds Putrefy, Overgrown Tomb, it's like Arbor Elf, and is that another Putrefy?
Double Putrefy, one textless one with text.
So Robert untaps on his third turn. Looks like he has a third land here. It is another Swamp. And
Lifebane.
There's a Lifebane zombie.
So he's got lands to play this game because he has at least another Swamp in his hand. I think another non-basic land as well. You see the hand here. There goes Obsidian. That's going to get removed. And then we've got a bunch of lands here for Cho, excuse me. Sun Petal, Grizzly Salvage, Isolated Chapel, Temple Garden, and I think double Overgrown Tomb.
I think so too. Or
just a ton of lands.
Yeah. But there you see Lifebane zombie showing us Josh's hand.
We will make sure that Obsidian does get exiled from the game instead of just hanging out in the graveyard there. Can't unbarrel rights that back. Get that out of there.
They took care of that. Josh just plays a land and passes for his third turn. So Robert does have his fourth land. I already saw a white border in his hand. He's going to swing in with the Lifebane zombie. Very intimidating.
We'll take 3. How about that?
Yeah. And it looks like an Underworld Connections from Robert on one of those swamps. Passes back with the opportunity to draw a card during Josh's turn.
Grizzly Salvage is going to turn over double and barrel rights, an Arbor Elf, a Cavernous Souls, and an Isolated Chapel. And we know that Cho has mostly lands in his hand, so this is not an ideal salvage here.
Yeah, Josh is having a lot of issues with his draw spells. This match, in fact.
They have been decidedly mediocre.
Yeah, top deck I believe was Arbor Elf.
Yeah.
So there you see the Arbor Elf. There you see an Overgrown Tomb, and he just passes back. Robert is going to draw a card with the Underworld Connections. I believe that was a land there. I think it was a Woodland Cemetery.
Yep.
Putrefy off the top.
This is, of course, I mean, game 1 is, no one wants things to go how things went game 1 for Lopuski, but this is how he wants the game to go.
Yeah.
He's a little bit ahead. He can start using his removal and just 1 for 1 to his heart's content, and he's just going to stay ahead, takes care of that Arbor Elf with Liliana, gets in for 3 at Lifebane Zombie. A zombie is difficult deck for Cho's deck to actually be able to answer. Thrag Tusk, pretty good card right now.
Sure. There you see the Thrag Tusk in play for Josh. Still can't block that zombie, but it gains back almost 2 full swings.
For Lopuski, again, this is exactly where he wants to be. He's drawing cards, he's interacting with the Planeswalker, he's getting damage across via Lifebane Zombie, he's got a Demonic Rising in his hand, they can actually cast to pump out a 5/5 if he wants to go that route, so doing quite well this game. Cho having, obviously, difficulty flooding out. This isn't how the game wants to go for him either, but, if Lopuski could draw up how he wants the game to go just from his side of things, this is it.
On Robert's turn here, untaps his 5 lands. He's got Liliana on 1 and Lifebane Zombie in for 3. Runs right past that Thrag Tusk. Thinking about his play here. Still needs to be wary of those Smiters if he decides he wants to plus the Liliana. Plays a Thrag Tusk of his own. Land and pass.
Golgari Guildgate.
Golgari Guildgate. That's kind of a tongue twister.
Yep, 2 of those in Lopuski's deck. He's got access to actually, his version's a little bit different. He's got 15 swamps in his deck and 11 swamps and 4 overgrown tombs. He's got some guild gates, he's got 4 woodland cemeteries, a basic forest, and then 3 copies of Mutavault.
So Josh decides he's going to swing at Liliana, and Robert trades his Thragtusk for Josh's Thragtusk, leaving both players with beasts in play. And Josh is going to say, I will use my Unburial Rights to bring back my Thragtusk.
Well, those rights aren't doing anything else, so this is better than anything. Again, Cho's hand right now, he has a whole bunch of lands, I think actual 4, yeah, he has 4 lands in his hand.
Josh's life total sneaking higher and higher, but Robert's still at 21. So it's a game, anybody's game at this point.
He's just undoing a lot of the work that
the
that
Lifebane's
doing. Yeah, I mean, Lifebane was awesome this game. You know, hitting an Obsidat and exiling that from the game, and then it's getting in for this is its 12th point of damage. Yeah, but it's being undone by Thragtusk, which is something that I think we're both used to.
I mean, you could look at it the other way. Here's a Lifebane zombie. It's going to undo your first 2 Thragtusks in the first 4 turns.
You can't look at it the other way. That's true. So Underworld Connections activation here.
Finds, I believe, a Doomblade. He has a Doomblade. I don't know if that's the card he found, but it is a Doomblade. He's got a double Doomblade, at least a single Putrefy. But he's going to go ahead and match Thragtusk for Thragtusk with Josh here. So both players with a Thragtusk and a Beast. Robert is up 2 permanents, 2 non-land permanents to Josh, though, with a Liliana and a Lifebane zombie. Interesting how Robert chose to protect his Liliana, yet still refrains from using it.
Yeah, it's interesting because he has no reason on his side of things to actually activate Liliana because his hand is stock full of removal and relevant cards.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't know that he has only lands, but he's not doing anything. And so now, you know, Cho's going to try to go after Liliana again, and Robert is, as you mentioned, still protecting it.
Right.
A little bit surprised by that, but you know, it's going to die because both creatures went into that. So now, a Beast token from Cho, he can actually reanimate that Thragtusk again if he'd like to. But I think what Lopuski's doing is basically just grinding out those Unburial Rights in the Thragtusk, so that if he does draw like a card like Mutilate, he can just clear up everything.
And that looks like the plan. So you see the Unburial Rights number 2 is going to bring back that same Thragtusk yet again. So after the dust settles, the end of Josh's turn, we've got an Elvish Mystic, 2 Beast tokens, and a Thragtusk on Josh's side of the board. Robert's side of the board lost his Liliana, so just a Thragtusk and a Lifebane zombie, but that zombie's still going to put in some work.
So Disciple of Bolas in Lopuski's hand right now as well. He could play Disciple, sacrifice Steel, Thragtusk, gain 5 life, draw 5 cards, get a 3/3 Beast token. He's going to start by attacking with Lifebane zombie, but we know that Lopuski has a lot of cards in his hand, and he's only drawing more cards due to the Underworld connections. But he is going to actually make this play, gain a bunch of life, draw a bunch of cards. He might have to end up discarding here at some point.
So there you see the Disciple sacrifices the Thragtusk, as you mentioned, draws him a bunch of cards, and it's going to leave him with a Beast. Did he overtap for that Disciple?
He does have a mana floating.
Okay.
He did overtap. It does cost 4 mana, not 5. In theory, you know, this isn't a mistake quote.
Right.
He just has a mana floating.
Right.
That's all.
Plays a basic swamp. And has quite a... I think he's trying to decide what he wants to discard here because he may be over 7. Yeah, it looks like he's...
Yeah, I mean, this is the reason that I wasn't in love with the Disciple play because he already has a card drawing engine in play in Underworld Connections, so I don't feel that he needs more cards, and I think he actually downgraded his board instead of upgrading it because I think that he would rather have a Thragtusk being a 5/3, and the fact that if it dies in a trade with the other Thragtusk, that he has a 3/3 token left. I didn't think that it was my thoughts are that he didn't need the extra cards for extra life. I thought his board was already good enough.
So Josh on his turn is going to swing in with the 2 Beasts. Robert trades his Beast for one of the Beasts and takes 3. That was a lot of Beasts.
Oh, plenty of Beasts out there.
Josh plays a land and passes back. Robert's going to draw a card off the Underworld Connections at the end of turn.
Going to go up to 8 and then up to 9 for his draw step.
So 9 cards. We know he's got a land drop, so he's going to have to play a spell this turn if he doesn't want to discard. And it looks like he's got one in the form of another Lifebane zombie, which has been putting in work. As you see, Josh's hand is just 3 lands, so no exile there for the Lifebane zombie, but the intimidating 3 power, it might be a lot more relevant in this situation.
Sun Petal Grove, Woodland Cemetery, an Overgrown Tomb in the lands there in Josh's hand.
So the original Lifebane Zombie gets in for another 3.
Trying to whittle away.
Yeah. And Robert just plays the land and passes.
Yeah, representing rules. Well, we know it's Putrefying Double Doomblade in his hand, so if anything goes pretty poorly here, he can just kill something. You know, he does open himself up right now to if Cho did draw Restoration Angel.
Yeah.
So that becomes a bit of an issue. If he tries to take down Thragtusk, Restoration Angel would counteract one of those spells. So you do open yourself up to that annoyance, as you're going to see some blocking here.
So Disciple gets in front of Elvish Mystic, and Lifebane Zombie gets in front of Thragtusk, leaving Josh with a pair of Beast tokens, one of which got in for 3 here.
Choking top some man. Looks like a Disciple Bolas.
He has a Disciple of his own. Josh is going to draw some cards here.
Yeah, I like responding here with just Doomblade. I like killing both of his guys, not letting him deeper into his deck.
Yeah.
But that's not what Lopuski's going to do. I'm a little surprised that he's not pulling the trigger on like any of this removal. This is going to give Cho the opportunity to actually get back into a game that he probably shouldn't have any business even trying to get back into.
Finds a Vault of the Archangel, passes back. Robert draws a card off of the Underworld Connections and untaps with a lone Lifebane Zombie in play for his creatures. Gonna swing in with that Lifebane Zombie.
Trade here.
Yeah, Disciple can get in front of the intimidating Lifebane Zombie, so see a Desecration Demon as the follow-up from Robert.
Yeah, the one thing for Robert is you have to realize that you can't take these cards with him, you know, after the game's over. So I think you should be using some of this removal.
I start next game with this stuff in the same stuff in my hand.
I think you have to use some of this removal here. Putrefy going to take care of the demon because he's trading his creatures for creatures instead of trading removal for creatures.
Right, where he could be getting a lot more damage in or just protecting himself. We have Beast Token getting in for Josh.
So now he's going to Doomblade.
There we see a Doomblade. I think there would have been a much more opportune time to use it, like you said, before that Disciple trigger.
Yeah, of course, you want to draw a card with Underworld Connections when you can, but I think he could have taken a turn off and just double Doombladed both those Beast tokens, and Disciple is just an overpriced 2/1. I think that Lopuski is far enough ahead that he can keep drawing cards. He'll draw a creature eventually that can win him the game. Angel of Serenity, he's actually got in check pretty well right now because he has so much removal in his hand. But I just don't want to give Cho the opportunity to draw extra cards when we know that all he has is lands in his hand.
Right. Well, Robert does have a second copy of Desecration Demon, the first being dealt with by a Putrefy, but Cho has an Angel of Serenity, and there it is. These are the correct life totals. We had a little bit of a snag there getting the life totals corrected, but there they are, 20 to 21. And looks like Angel of Serenity is getting a Thragtusk, Disciple. What was the third? Was the third card the Desecration Demon?
Yeah. So what he does there is with the Angel's effect on the stack, he's going to Doomblade it so that Cho will not get back the creatures. They'll be exiled forever with Angel of Serenity. He does lose his Desecration Demon in the exchange, but
that doesn't matter to him.
Yeah. Again, Lopuski just wants the game to just keep going at the current pace that it's at, not let Cho get any card advantage, and he can win eventually with something. So there's a Liliana in the Veil that's going to take care of the Smiter. I think Lopuski drew another Desecration Demon for the turn.
And
so there's the 6/6 if he wants to cast it.
Yeah, it looks like he showed it to Josh.
Yeah, I think you want to cast it.
So Robert doing a good job of clearing the board and then rebuilding on his own side.
Yep.
Josh down an Angel of Serenity and Loxodon Smiter from last turn. Josh just plays a land and passes. So it looks like life totals are 20 to 20. We've got a fresh game, but Robert right now is going to knock Cho to 14 with that Desecration Demon.
The other thing that we kind of haven't even mentioned with Desecration Demon is that, it does get the game over very quickly as well.
Yeah. It's not going to take much.
6 points of damage each attack. You can get the game over with very, very fast. And it just basically cut Cho's draw steps so he doesn't get the opportunity to get back into this game.
So Robert pluses that Liliana. I think he discarded a land, and I think so did Josh. I'm guessing so did Josh, considering the number of lands that he had in his hand. Now Robert's going to sign in blood. I wonder about using that here. I actually like maybe saving it for the last 2 points of damage.
Yeah, make it a 3-turn clock instead
Right.
of a 4-turn. He did draw a Mutavault, so that's what he's going to play. I also don't love the sequencing of that turn for Lopuski, because if you're going to sign in blood, you want to sign in blood first, and then activate your Liliana to discard so that you're working with better information on what you do want to discard.
So as you mentioned, the Mutavault, the play there, passes to Josh. Josh has no play, passes back. Now you see Desecration Demon and Mutavault going to work. Going to knock Josh to 6. Liliana pluses yet again. Discard a land from Robert and probably a land from Josh as well. Looks like a forest. And Mutavault becomes just a land again. And Josh is going to go ahead and pack it in with 19 minutes left for a game 3. So we're all tied up here in round 3 of 10 of the StarCityGames.com Open Series, live from Baltimore. Josh Cho versus Robert Lopuski. Robert on this rock deck that has been picking up in popularity lately. And Josh on Junk Reanimator list that's a little more classic, identical to the one that Jerry Thompson brought this weekend. Jerry Thompson losing in his feature match round 2, last round. So Jerry is 1-1 currently. Haven't heard word whether or not he's won his 3rd round. But it's interesting. All the decks we've seen have been green-black, right?
Yeah.
We've seen no decks that weren't. We've seen 0 decks that did not have access to both black and green.
And every deck can play Desecration Demon.
Yes.
All of the decks. And most of them have.
Right. The ones that haven't have had Shadowmourne Demon, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Maybe the first, I believe the very first opponent didn't have it. But yeah, the Demons are really, really popular this weekend. If you haven't heard us say it already. Demons just all over the place.
Of course, you guys can join us on Twitter at SCG Live, hashtag SCGBALT for Baltimore. Checking the tweets all day long on the iPads. Joe Demestrio, Grand Prix Portland runner-up, and a youngster who dabbled in a couple different card games, has made his transition into Magic, saying that he's 2-1 right now, but he should have played Jund. I think that's something that he's not going to be the only person to say that this weekend.
Very interesting. I'm looking through some of the SCGBALT hashtagged tweets. Jerry very excited, which is surprising because we did say he's playing a green deck.
Yes.
He's playing green cards. He's playing Junk Reanimator. That he tweeted earlier today that he's more excited for an MTG tournament than he's been in a while. That was after round 1, after winning. Guess you feel a little better after winning than you do after losing. I haven't caught up yet as far as. I know he tweeted after he lost round 2. I didn't quite see the full comment, but interesting. Yeah, DNA and Rambler. Jerry T is playing Junk Reanimator. What does this world come to?
That's right. That's how bad blue is now. That's what it's like. I find it interesting if people like it when blue is good or if people like it when blue is bad. Like, do you have more fun when Blue-White Delver is the best deck, or do you prefer when Jund is the best deck, kind of just clobbering people? I don't really know which way I like it more. I think I really enjoy beating blue decks. There's a level of smugness by blue players when blue is good. And I don't really like.
Yeah.
I don't really like it. With their mana leaks and their counter spells and their card drawing, I like beating them.
If we had mana leaks.
Well, that's not going to happen for a little while.
I blame Delver for that.
Yeah, well, good. Get it out.
That's why one of the reasons I'm not a fan of Delver, because I think it ruined the reputation of Mana Leak. But we're underway, and the first play of the game on turn 3 from Josh Cho is a Loxodon Smiter. Robert has a Mutavault for the turn and a Liliana, a nice little way to deal with Smiter once it's on board. Not a great way to deal with Smiter when it's in your opponent's hand. As we see, Josh plays his 4th land. He's going to play a second Smiter. Again, we see him with the opportunity to hold Smiter for a potential Liliana activation. But I think is it possible he has a 3rd Smiter? He may actually.
He might, yeah. It looks like he does. Well, we're going to find out for sure now with the Lifebane Zombie.
Well, Lifebane Zombie.
Yep.
It's going to show us Josh does have a 3rd copy of Smiter. In fact, it's the only legal target for the Lifebane Zombie. Disciple of Bolus, alongside a Putrefy and a Forest are the remaining cards in Josh's hand. I almost called it Disciple of the Vault, but that's a completely different card.
That one brings back memories, or I don't want to say memories, more so nightmares than memories.
Fair. That's fair.
So Cho gonna untap here, gonna try to kill Liliana.
Yeah,
Right,
so
that's dead.
Smiter's gonna deal with that Liliana, and for 5 mana,
Good draw.
a Thrag
Really good draw.
Tusk from Josh Cho.
Now Cho gets 5 life. He gets a 5/3 on the table, and he has something perfect to sacrifice to Disciple Bolas next turn, assuming that it'll still be in his hand when he goes to his next turn. So that was a good draw step.
4th land from Robert, and he's got another copy of Liliana, I believe. Or was that, I'm sorry, it was a Desecration Demon.
Yep, 6/6. I mean, that just gets putrefied, so not the end of the world. And now Restoration Angel to draw from Cho as well. So Cho is he's kicking the gas.
Yeah,
Firing on all
rolling right
cylinders.
along. I mean, compared to the first 2 games, this is looking much better. So there you see the Putrefy for the Demon. And we're going to probably see Smiter coming in to deal with the, to potentially deal with the Lifebane Zombie. Robert not going to throw it in the way here. It's going to just take 4. Robert untaps, has an Underworld Connections in hand, so he can spend his turn drawing a card if he'd like.
Yeah, but see, he's on the back foot right now, whereas the
Yeah.
last game we saw him, of course, Cho was flooding out last game, but in the last game we saw Lopuski kind of ahead,
Right.
and then just keep pushing his advantage by drawing cards and playing planeswalkers and fishing creatures and using removal spells sparingly. Now he's trying to catch back up here, and I'm not sure if that's a position that his deck is comfortable being in.
Robert, the master at replacing a Desecration Demon with another Desecration Demon on the following turn, plays another Desecration Demon here. So he's got Demon and Lifebane Zombie. Passes back to Josh. No attacks from the zombie. Robert at 14, Josh at a healthy 25. See Avacyn's Pilgrim in Josh's hand. Along with a Restoration Angel, as you noticed last turn. He's going to play the Pilgrim here.
Yeah, he can play 2 spells in one turn. Now he can play Pilgrim and either cast Disciple or Restoration Angel. So,
And then he's going to go ahead and sacrifice that Pilgrim to tap down the Desecration Demon and swing in with that Smiter again.
kind of like the aggression.
Yeah,
I see what Cho's plan here is. Assuming that everything goes right, this following turn, he's going to go Restoration Angel, blink the Thrag Tusk, get a 3/3, gain 5 life, sack the beast for the Desecration Demon, so he can keep attacking. So I see what his plan is.
Robert's going to help the cause here by doing 2 damage to himself with a Sign in Blood, and draw 2 cards. Finds a Mutilate on top. Not that relevant here. Looks like he's really only got 1 swamp. Plays a Scavenging Ooze.
And now, does he have a land to follow up?
He does.
Overgrown 2. I don't think he can afford to play this on tap though.
No, I
down
agree.
To 6 and then maybe up to 7. I don't think that works out the way that he wants it to. But he is going to do that.
Yeah, so he's going to play that Overgrown Tomb untapped, goes to 6, now has 2 swamps for a Mutilate next turn, but that 2 is not enough. He's going to need a few more swamps to make it really powerful. So down to 6. Haven't seen whether or not there was a combat declared yet.
Yeah. That's probably what the conversation's about right now. And this is not the first time that we will have a conversation about Desecration Demon. Right, and it won't be the last time.
There's been no indication of the Desecration Demon at the moment. Well, Josh is indicating it right now within this rules question here. But there's just some discussion. I believe it's just a question for the judge.
Yep.
And so Josh actually may be going ahead with that Restoration Angel plan here on Robert's turn. So he's going to flash in that Restoration Angel, blink the Thrag Tusk, gets a beast, sacrifices it to tap down that demon during Robert's combat. And Robert passes the turn. Josh untaps with Angel, Smiter, and Thrag Tusk. Robert at 6 life. Not looking great for him.
And not at all. Again, he's trying to play defense right now, and he's just having difficulty doing that. Cho's going to turn everything sideways here. Don't forget about the Disciple Bolas over there for Cho as well. That he can play post-combat to draw a bunch of cards, gain a bunch of life, and further, press his advantage. He'll take the turn off. He'll take the turn off to get some cards and some life. He will play a 2/1 body, which is probably insignificant in the grand scheme of things. But then he can continue pressing his advantage further the following turn.
So there you see the only blocks that Robert can make, really. Scavenging Ooze in front of the Smiter, Lifebane Zombie in front of the Thrag Tusk, and he's going to use the Ooze once just to gain a little bit of life there. Takes the hit from the Angel and then gains a life.
Beast token comes in, and now there's the Disciple, and we'll see what that's going to sacrifice.
Post-combat Disciple of Bolus for Josh. How many cards does he want to draw?
3 or is it 4?
Yeah, looks like he's greedy. He wants 4 cards.
My feeling would be 4.
Really, he just wants to go up to 34. It's a little bit safer.
Sure. Once you get the max cards here, there's not much difference right now in this game state between a 3/3 and a 4/4. I'm sure he's going to play a land, and then he does have an Elvish Mystic in his hand. He might just have 2 Mana Dorks. Yep.
There they are. A couple of Mana Dorks. Basically, Desecration Demon fodder.
Third Swamp drawn for Lopuski, so if he does have Mutilate in his hand, Mutilate's actually quite good right now.
Yeah, actually, it's much better than it was now that the Smiter's gone. Basically just going to leave Josh with an Angel.
Yep.
So Robert says, all right, combat. Josh says, all right, I'll deal with the demon by sacrificing the Absent Pilgrim. I was pausing there a little bit because I'm thinking, why not Swamp Mutilate, leaving Josh with just the Angel, then going
and then going
combat?
to attack. Yeah. I was thinking the exact same thing that you were, and I'm assuming that there is. I'm fairly sure that there's Mutilate in his hand. It's
he does have
alternate
Mutilate.
artwork Mutilate. Yeah, that's in his hand right now, and I'm a little surprised not to see him pull the trigger on that to kind of clear everything up here and leave Cho with just a Restoration Angel versus a Desecration Demon.
I guess the thing there, he's at 4 life. Maybe, yeah. I'm just trying to think. He would have gone to 1 because of an Angel attacking on the swing back.
Yep.
So I don't know. I guess he just felt a little safer with this play, which I guess is fine. He went up to 9 with the Thrag Tusk, passed back to Josh. Josh gets in with the Angel, knocks Robert to 6, and now Robert has the opportunity to do what we mentioned, although he'll lose his Thrag Tusk.
Yeah, he'll lose the front half, be left with a 3/3. But is it
I think he's got a pair of Mutilates in hand.
He has 2 Mutilates, and he has another Thragtusk in his hand as well. So, is it time to pull the trigger on this Mutilate right now to be a, 3 or 4 for 2 or what have you?
The thing is, if I'm Josh, I'm like, I don't care about getting hit with 9/9. I'm at 34.
Yeah.
So I don't sack the Angel, and I swing back, knock Robert to 3. Of course, Robert can just play another Thragtusk next turn. I guess it's pretty much what he's thinking. He's going between those 2 lines. I don't know what other cards he's got in hand, but as far as I know, it's just Mutilate. 2 Mutilates, Thragtusk. Might not be anything other than that.
Yeah, nothing horribly relevant else is over there. So you see him kind of going in the tank right now, thinking out his decision-making process. And, for me, I think it's, for me, I want to Mutilate here. I can leave up Mutavault as well. And I'm going to attack for 9 to start.
So Josh doesn't care either way, just even with no Mutilate available. And he's going to swing in for 9, knock Josh to 25. Robert's going to play a Thragtusk. Thragtusk number 2, go up to 11.
So Restoration Angel is going to come in. It's going to blink the Disciple of Bolus. The Disciple is going to sacrifice the Beast token. So Cho's going to get 3 life and 3 more cards. He's going to get deeper into his deck. I think what Robert's doing here is he is really valuing having 4 swamps in play. So Mutilate actually kills everything of Cho's.
So you think he's just hoping to draw that 4th swamp? Yeah, and if Josh had that other Restoration Angel earlier, then that Mutilate play would have been awful because he would have just flashed in the other Angel and swung in.
Yep. So here's a Grizzly Salvage, going to turn over a Obsidat, an Unburial Rites, a couple of lands here. I don't think he can cast Obsidat right now as it stands.
Yep. He takes Cavern, I think.
Yep. Which will give him the 3rd white mana for Angel of Serenity, assuming he will play that and name Angel, because right now he has 2 Isolated Chapels as white mana. So now here comes on Burial Rites. It's going to get back Obsidian.
So the Angels knock Robert to 5, and Obsidian's going to knock Robert down to 3.
Yep.
So it's looking rough, looking grim for Robert. He really wants that 4th swamp to deal with everything but Obsidian. Obsidian, who stuck around, by the way, did not phase out.
A little bit surprised by that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a missed opportunity from Josh or an actual decision.
And he finished off his turn by playing Godless Shrine and then playing Elvish Mystic, or Arbor Elf, whatever mana dork it is, and then just passed the turn back. And I think he may have forgotten in his hastiness to remove Obsidian, put it into exile so that it can come back, drain and gain 2, and then attack with haste. Because its ability to be a block right now is quite irrelevant. Yes.
Yeah. So Robert, 3 life, 2 Thrag Tusks, and a Desecration Demon on board. That Desecration Demon is a 9/9. What is relevant right now for Robert, he has a couple of mutilates in hand. Mutacards.
Yep.
In hand. As you see, he's casting one. Now the thing is, I believe he's only got 3 swamps, and that looks to be the case because those Restoration Angels are still on board. And Robert's going to be left here with a 6/6 demon for this turn, alongside 2 beast tokens, which are going to hopefully arrive here. I think
what you're seeing right now, my friend,
is actually
you're seeing a concession. Yes, you're seeing a mutilate happen. You're seeing him kill things. Now you're seeing Lopuski show his hand saying, "And nothing